All right, what's up, guys? So we're doing the heads and cam build on this car. This is a 1999 Camaro SS. If you've seen the other videos, you might see this video where I'm changing out the shocks. I'm lowering the front and rear of car. But right now, so what we're gonna do, this section of the video is just gonna be taking off the intake itself. I have an LS6 intake on here. It's gonna be the same as the LS1. The only difference really is just the shape of the bottom, but it should be hooked up the same way. We're gonna try and get a lot of this stuff out of the way. I don't know how much we're gonna get out of the way today, but we're just prepping to do the heads and cam build. So we're gonna start off with disconnecting a couple of these clips on your intake right here. Real easy. Make sure you don't break them. You got two there, and you got one back here. Okay, once those clips are out of the way, you're gonna wanna take your EGR off, and they'll just come up and move right out of the way. So I'm gonna do that real quick and we'll be right back. Forgot to mention, we got one more clip right here, the bottom of your throttle body. There you go, now you got all clips disconnected right here. All right, so we got the EGR out off the way. It's two 11mm bolts up top. Next, we're gonna disconnect it's kind of hard to do with one hand. You're gonna disconnect your throttle cable here. So you're gonna literally just lift it up and it will just slide right out like that. After that, you're gonna wanna disconnect these. I believe these are 10s. I'll throw something up on the screen if that's not right. You're gonna wanna disconnect this bracket here, holding on your throttle cable. All right, so next we're gonna be removing your intake right here. So there's two clips up front. Undo those clips. Now all that will slide off as one piece. Like that. This will be replaced. I'm actually going with an SLP intake, so it's just looks more factory, a little cleaner for me. All right, so over here on this side, passenger side, you got a vacuum line right here. Literally just pull it right out, disconnects real easy. That moves to the side. Next over here, you have your EVAP. And so normally you're gonna have a plastic fitting here. That actually broke for me, so I replaced it with this this fuel line, or this rubber hose. I don't know if it's actually a fuel line. So you got a little hose clamp right here, and you just want to pull out a small little flathead and just disconnect them, and it should slide right off like that. Like I said, you won't have this Teflon tape. It was kind of a jank solution just to make sure this hose fit. All right, so right now the car's been sitting for a while because it's winter, so there shouldn't be any fuel pressure inside the fuel rails. If you just ran the car, you will have pressure in there, but it's always best for disconnect the fuel lines. You want to relieve the pressure, so you have a Schrader valve here at the end. Get a nice rag in there so you don't spray yourself with fuel, and just press in the tip like that and get gas sprayed all over yourself, and just relieve the pressure. Just like that, and you're good. Now there's not a lot of pressure in there. So we can go ahead and disconnect this right here. So this is the connection of where your fuel rails on the intake actually gets plugged in to this line right here. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, now that you have this rubber cover off, is we're gonna disconnect this fuel line right here. So I bought this set of fuel line disconnect tools from Advanced Auto, relatively cheap. You really only need the 5/16 one, so if you can just buy the individual, that's fine. So how this works, it's going to split open like that, and since this is plastic, they have metal ones, but with the plastic you don't want to really yank on it because you can break it. So you're going to want to just slide it over like that. Now that it's on there, you're going to get a rag in place underneath because some fuel is going to come out. Get it where it's nice underneath. I don't know how well you can see that. You're going to get your fuel line disconnect tool, make sure it's fully on, and it literally just slides right back. There we go. Just like that. You're gonna want to push it forward. I was being dumb, didn't push it forward. As you can see, that's what happens. Second I push it forward, pull that back, it'll come right off. Not a lot of gas came out or anything, and we can just set this up here. All right, so the next thing we have to do is we're gonna disconnect the connections for the fuel injectors here. This is where we start getting kind of into the tricky part. I don't know how well you can really see back there, but with these force gens, pretty much half your engine is gonna be underneath your cowl here. So it's kind of tricky, but these fuel injectors are real easy. So you got a little spring here on the bottom. You're just gonna want to push up and just wiggle them right off. just like that. Just when you're taking these off, everyone, just make sure you have the actual gasket in there. You don't want to lose those. But I'm gonna go ahead and take off the rest of the injectors. Okay guys, so I just discovered a little bit of a problem. As you can see right there, the wiring going to one of the injector plugs is broken. So I don't know yet how much slack I have in here, or if I have any, to be able to, let me focus that, to be able to solder that back together. And I really don't have much to work with here, so I don't even know if it's possible. So that's gonna be dealt with in a later video. So that'll be fun. Look forward to that. A little bit of wiring. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, I'm gonna go back to taking off these injectors. All right, so now we're over to the driver's side. You got your evap kind of in the way for this clip. So I'm just gonna go ahead and disconnect it. You take a small screwdriver, stick it right back down in here, depress that, and it slides right out like that. So now you can move it out of the way. All right, so we have the clips for the injectors all out. You can see that back one back there. That was the one giving me the most trouble. All the other ones, pretty easy to get out. Like I said, those wires are broken, so don't even have to worry about that until I go to redo the wiring later. So next we have these intake bolts. I believe there are 8 of them. So you can hold it. So it's going to be these smaller ones right here. They're size 8mm socket. We're going to go ahead and take out these 4 ones up front real quick, just to show you. And then we'll get tackling the ones back there, because there's a couple back there that are a bit tricky to get to. But go ahead and take those off. All right, so those are the 4 real easy ones, and now we're gonna get back into the tricky ones. Probably won't film the ones that are a little bit easier to get. Pretty should be self-explanatory. All right, so went ahead and got this bolt loose right here, and we're about to tackle this bolt over here. Passenger side is a little bit easier. So how we're doing this is I got the 8mm, and I got a tiny little swivel, because I had a, what was it, like a 2-inch? I had one of these extensions on it, and it's too tall, kind of hits the cowl. This is the perfect height right here. I think last time, actually, I might have had a deep socket. That might have been how I was doing it. You just need a little bit more reach because of how the fuel rails are. But we're gonna go ahead and take that all the way rear one out for you, and we'll just show you us doing it. So you should make sure she's on. Get it nice and good. Is that spinning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then you take her out like that, and now you got this bolt loose back here. And so what the trick is, you'll see in a second, what you got to do is you literally lift these up, get it into place, and you attach your rubber band between the bolts to hold it in place, because as you can see, it's kind of hard to take that out. So we'll be doing that in 1 second. I just need to get one more bolt over on the driver's side. And I think that's all of them loose, I want to say. Yeah. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we went ahead and got the rest of these bolts out up front. We were able to get this bolt out on this side. On this side, though, as you can see, it still needs to stand because your cowl here. So as you can see, this is the trick I was talking about earlier, is you literally have to hold the bolts up with rubber bands like this. It's a little tricky to get to, just because, the relation of your fucking dash right there. But once you get them all supported like that, you can take them out. Another trick is you can take a short piece of hose about 2 inches long and cut a slit in it, and then put those around, and these washers can sit on top of those hoses. I found that more work than you really need. Slap some rubber bands on it, it'll be good. So we have everything disconnected. All the bolts are off except for these ones that are just sitting loose up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the intake out. One thing you really should know that is a pain in the ass to deal with if you fuck it up is all the way at the rear of the intake. Probably won't be able to get a good angle of it until the intake's out, but there's a oil pressure sensor back there. It's very easy to bump that and break it. It's pretty fragile, so you got to watch out for it, especially when putting it back in. Taking it out, you know, you're coming this way, it's a little bit less, but you might bump it still just moving it. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut this in real quick. So I was just talking about the oil pressure sensor. That is that right there. You know, obviously when the intake's out, very easy to change it. But to change it, you have to take the intake out. I don't know how else you would be able to reach back there. So just be really careful if you're putting the intake back in. You know, follow all the steps I did just in reverse. But just be really careful about that. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this intake out. So as you can see, real loose. Just gonna gently grab it and slide it. Remember, you got those bolts in the back, so you can't lift it up too high. So there's gonna be 2 more connections. I'm gonna try and get a little bit more room back there. Yeah, like this. So now that we can reach back there, there's gonna be 2 connections on the back. You're gonna have your, I believe it's a mass airflow sensor back there. And your connection to your brake booster is back there as well. So, you're gonna wanna undo this clip. And you can kind of see the clip right there, part of your harness. So you can slide it out a little bit more. Just make sure you're not hitting too much stuff. You don't wanna be dragging something with you like that. Starts coming forward a little bit more. Okay, so I decided instead of undoing the brake boost line at the rear of the intake, I'm just gonna come over to the brake booster, and this literally just clips right out real easy. It's just like a barbed connection, just pull it out. And now intake is fully free. So I'm gonna slide over to this side. I'm gonna start taking it out. I can just lay it there. It should just start coming out like that. And I need to feed that brake booster line through the back. Make sure it doesn't get caught up on anything. Like I said, you need to watch out for that oil pressure sensor as well. Make sure you're not caught up on these. Like that. Just grab that brake boost line. Just yank it out of the way. There's going to be a vacuum line back here. And just undo that vacuum line like that. I don't know how well you can see that. Here, if you can come over here. So underneath that sensor, you're gonna have a vacuum line. Pulls right out. And now the entire intake is loose and free. Comes right out. That is how you remove your LS6 intake. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped you some. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing a whole build on this car, so a lot of work to come. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy it.